Well, speaking of that, I honored you and your family for your entrepreneurial um, skills. You all have been in business for years and years, and so tell me about that. How did you become an entrepreneur, you and your husband?
Okay, it's a story I'll never forget. I've worked at Packard. I got hired there September 1955, and he went into the mill, from the ash truck to the mill at Public Steel, August of 55. We was living on Main Street. So uh, he's I'm trying to get it straight here now. Boy. When he got hired, well, okay, and I was there. So later on, about the Dairy Queen, that was the first thing that we started out. We always wanted to do something. It was something I wanted to do. You see, that's who I was, Paul. This is reading on the wall there. I always kept Christ in my life, whatever they're doing. If I was speaking to somebody, it was always, dear God, it's always that. And I remember, but however, we both got the job. And at Republic Steel, it must have been 1956, I got sick and I had surgery at the old St. Joe's Hospital. And while I was there, I recuperated and came home. But in the meantime, I was on sick leave. Bob was working. So when I got better, I had about another week at home, then I could go back to work. So Tonkin Dairy was open, you probably remember them. So he was working midnights. And I said, well, I can take you to work and pick you up in the morning. I just wanted some air because I'd been in for 2 or 3 weeks. So I'd taken him to work. It was on a Friday, so I said, well, on my way back, I'll stop at Tonkin and get the kids some ice cream and cookies. We're going to watch TV. So he's on the 11 o'clock shift. I'd taken him to work in Tonkin, closed at 12. So I'd taken him down there and come back. And when I went in, Lucy was still there to own him. And I got my cooked vanilla wafers and my ice cream. And she checked me out. She says, it's almost 12 now. And she says, how would you like to buy this store? I'm holding my bag. I said, what? I said, what time did you come to work today? She said, I came at 12. I said, you need to go home and take a nap. Asking me about buying a store in the middle of the night. And she said, yeah, she said, I've had my eyes on you and your husband for a long time. I watch you every time you come in here. It was like routine, same thing, buy the same thing or whatever. And when I got to the door, she said, make sure you think about that now. Got outside. So I had to pick Bob up that morning at 7 o'clock, so I was down there to pick him up. And on our way back, I said, Bob, guess what? I said, when I take you to work, I said, when I stopped at Tompkins, Lucy was asking me about buying at the store. Bob said, oh, she just... I said, well, I don't know whether she was or not. I said, you go up there tomorrow when after you wake up and you buy something, see if she said the same thing to you. So, because he didn't believe what I was. So she said the same thing to him. Then her husband was there and they talked about it. And Bob said, yeah, that's right. She asked me the same thing, And so I said, what did you tell her? He said, I told her I would think about it, But that's how it got started. So sure enough, we met and she had a son named Raymond. So I thought about it and I said, why would she want to sell the store? She got a son there. He's 20-some years old. He works with him. I said, what's wrong? He said, I don't know. So anyway, we got together and we talked. But Raymond didn't want it because he was married and he didn't want his wife out here in this area. That's what it was. He didn't say. But however, we got it.
So it wasn't anything that you aspired to do. It was
No.
just like God just put it in your lap.
It was always something that we wanted to do. I wanted to do, and if he had a thought of something, and I prayed all the time. I never had long prayers, but God always. I know He's always with me. He said He would never leave me. So I remember the time when I used to work for the Canaries, Albert Canary on East Market, from 8 to 4 for $6, $6.30 bus fare. It was, bus fare was 15 cents.
This is before you started working at Packard?
Yeah.
And what did you do there for Canaries?
On Tuesday, I would iron. And on Thursday, I would clean.
Oh,
she had
okay.
another person there, Gertrude Howard. She did the cooking and the washing. See, I don't know what she was making, but I know what I was making.
Where did they live?
Canaries. They live right on the corner of East Market and Bonnie Bray. Yeah.
So how were you treated?
Well, they treated me well. I do my work. I iron all day. Mr. Canary was a big man, and his shirt looked like twin bed sheets. I'd iron all day, and they were nice to me and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always something. It was something else. It's something. I got 2 kids. I'm thinking about their education and stuff like that. I kept yearning, you know.
And so how long did you all have that store? You changed the name from Tompkins to Thomas's, correct?
Yeah. Well, I had the Dairy Queen
To
first.
Stewart's. Oh.
I had the Dairy Queen first.
Oh, okay.
That was on the corner of Wickstead Downs Road.
You had the Dairy Queen before you had the store?
Mm-hmm. I was at Packard at the same time.
Well, how did you all get the Dairy Queen?
Just through conversation. I'd go up and by, screaming, the woman started talking to me, and one word to the other, and I expressed my thoughts of my life. And so one day she told me, she says, well, I got to let this go, because her husband, they had broke up or something. And she said, why don't you come up and, and watch me? You could learn something. So I did.
Okay.
And that's how that came about.
So you all had a Dairy Queen,
Mm-hmm.
you had a store, and so how long did you have these businesses?
I tried to jot down something here from 1958. 1960 was a Dairy Queen. And what was happened was in progression with buying that, Bob had got this guy to come out, contractor. We was going to tear it down and redo it. Well, actually, our plans were to get everything new. And so we had got Dairy Queen working at Packard, but it was getting tough. I couldn't do them both. He was in the mill and I was there, and it was just too much. And the business was really, really good. So we let it go, but for its opening up, but we bought those 2 lots up there. And I have the blueprint now. We're gonna redo it and add space in the back, for just to have the tables out there, what have you. Thinking about the grandchildren. But anyway, we let it go, and that was 1958 to 60. So in 1965, when Tompkins Dairy come into thing there, we had that until 72.
Well, I remember going to church at Friendship, and we would always leave church to go to the store, to go to your store and buy our penny candy.
Yeah.
And then we would go back to church.
Yeah, and Sunday morning, we had to get extra help every Sunday morning. Those kids would be in there. We had all kinds of candy, We kept everything the same as they had, and then added a little more too. But it was good. I enjoyed it. And